Yeah, this is Margaret in Windsor, and I'm trying to talk into the microphone, and for some reason the volume doesn't work. What I want to say is I stepped outside for a little bit, so I feel a little bit better. Got a little bit of fresh air. I wanted to say this, and I'm not bringing out pictures. I want to respond to Emily. She uses the name Windsor Cragg. Uh, I saw one of her videos where she was interviewed by Alfred Weber. It was a 2 hour interview. I listened to some of it. What I want to focus on is I know that she has filed and it went before Parliament or something. And I didn't realize she'd filed to say she was the illegitimate daughter of my father, Edward VIII. And she went on to say well, he's an imposter. I don't know that she knew that at the time. But that was a fake, an imposter that married Wallis Simpson, a look-alike. So what I want to say here is I listened to it, and I don't know if this goes or not, but anyway, I'm going to put it up. Maybe it does. She was saying how she came to be. She said, and I didn't get the army base in Germany. She said her mother was a nurse in the U.S. Army and that she was based in Germany. And that's where, on one night stand, there was a secret UFO where the some of the UFOs that were made here in this country or in the maybe Germany made them. Anyway, that they were unveiling, and that I guess only a few were there to see, invited. So anyway, this is where Emily's mother got pregnant with her, and they claim it's the Duke of Windsor. And Emily, in her statements, and she's made it more than once, is that her father is King Edward VIII, and then she'll refer to her father as the Duke of Windsor. Well, my father, King Edward VIII, was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe Windsor, American, sister to artist George O'Keeffe. My grandmother, Mary, did not approve of the marriage because, quote, my mom was a commoner. My mom was a school teacher, a beautiful lady. More than I can say about people I've met in my lifetime, except don't quote me on this, because the Brits and the Germans and a handful of Americans were the ones that kept me alive. As much hell as I've been in, they kept me alive. All right, and I found out the truth about my birth in 83. Kidnapped in 41, born in 39, transported, I think, to the Cortland Air Base at that time in 41 near Moulton, Alabama. I was placed on a pigsty farm where a woman, Lina Mae Dempsey, had children, twins, born out of wedlock, Peggy and Carl Dempsey. My identity stolen, and I was given the name of Peggy Ann Dempsey, the twin, dead twin, and I married a Childers. So now then, this night that she was conceived, that Emily, this person, says she's illegitimate. By the way, I grew up being called bastard because they had given me the name of Peggy, the twin, and that both of them dead, and they were out of wedlock. My father's Edward VIII, but I got called and subjected to all the horrors you can imagine. So anyway, here is Emily, and she's saying that she's conceived in 1943, and it's uh, the Duke of Windsor, because supposedly my father abdicated and married Simpson, which is a lie, and became the illegal title of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. So now she's saying on that night in 43 that her mother was impregnated, had sex, and a tryst, a one night stand. She made some little ugly little remarks. Her mother did, I guess, and she repeated them. Emily did. Well, that's not my father. First of all, I think you got his height wrong. It's my understanding my father was probably about 5'6". You got him an inch higher than he was, but he was higher than any of you in his character, believe me. So now then, she somehow found out and pieced together and all this that she's the illegitimate heir. So she's been on Facebook, YouTube. I have too. On YouTube for 4 years and Facebook for about 5 at least, or 6 maybe, putting all these up, pictures, documents, etc. So now then, I'm going to say this and leave it for the moment anyway. She did file, and in the interview she told me she's got all these people behind her. I have nobody. Everybody's afraid to touch it. Involved in what I was telling about, I worked for doctors, and I was telling about mind control murders done in patterns deliberately. Letter from the FBI, June the 23rd, 79. And I told her about the horrible things done to me and my children. I'm not going to go into it anymore. And my working for the DA, District Attorney Fred Simpson in Huntsville, Alabama, Marshall Space Flight Center, and NASA, the space where the Space Center began. So now this person got all this play, and she's got a fund to fund her attempt to overthrow Elizabeth, who's illegal, by the way, and should be tried for war crimes. And she was going to, Emily's going to become the Queen of England. This is exactly what I've been telling, only I'm not illegitimate. My mom and dad were married. And by the way, I want to finish this. When I found out in 83 about my kidnapping, etc., and I did remember a portrait being brought with me, and it was a portrait that, I've said this, about the size of that refrigerator. And it was my father holding me, and he had on his uniform and everything, just like in the picture in my profile. I use it on my profile for Facebook and YouTube. And anyway, Google Plus. Anyway, he didn't have the badges and things on him. He was holding me. And I don't know how old you are when you're christened, but I looked to be about a year old, which that disappeared with all the other photographs of me. But I wanted to make that statement. So I was born in 39, so here's my dad holding me at a christening. I realized that Sir Winston Churchill, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Bilderbergers, the Kennedy clan. He was appointed ambassador, by the way, Kennedy was, by Roosevelt, a Jew, during the time of this reign of terror against my father, 36, till they kicked Kennedy out in 46. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if his sons, I know they had something to do with it, JFK and the older brother, flew into the embassy there during the time I was born, kidnapped, and a couple of years later. They actually went before Parliament. All right? Now then, I'm pretty sure this is how they got me in, to the Cortland Air Base, which was new, and it was near Moulton, Alabama, where they dropped me off, took my identity, and have tortured me and my children. And I hope that I get my title, my legal title, of Victoria II, legal heir to the British Crown. And I can repay in any way I can the people who supported me and did the right thing. And when they say God save the Queen, I think that was meant to mean the real Queen, not a bunch of quacks and a person like Elizabeth Windsor Mountbatten and her father, and that immediate family should be held in a world court and tried for war crimes, among many other crimes. But you know what? All these people, Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, that kidnapped me, control the press. They also, Henry Kissinger didn't help kidnap me, I don't think, but he was a part of trying to have me killed on that Watergate tapes. And I'm going to leave it at that. These are war criminals, and they tout their wealth. And by the way, I'm going to say this because I Yeah, I can get this on here, because he endorsed Hillary Clinton, who's part of the Illuminati, the global government. The United Nations was established after they kidnapped me and all the illegal treaties, and the United States sent its military in there under the guise of being a friend and freeing the UK. They went in there and took it over. It wasn't enough to kidnap me, uh, the monarch. It wasn't enough to take down my father, and it wasn't enough to destroy my mother too. It wasn't enough. They stole this from the British. They did not give it back to the Native American Indians. They took it for themselves, and then they proceeded to run amok, run all over everything, didn't give a rat's behind for anybody, and they control everything British. Some of it, they said they gave them their freedom. Well, that's a crock. They enslaved everybody now. The New World Order, global government, world without borders, that's exactly what they're doing. Now I'm going to let go of that. You all know what I'm talking about. But people are living good, and until they pull up to the gas tanks and the electric meters, etc., and food, they're not going to pay attention to me. They hate my guts. They really do. Just like Snowden. They didn't appreciate what he did, and they don't like me either. I'm considered, even though my mother was an American, and God bless her, my own country didn't do it. Well, no, I'm going to rephrase that. The British people were there for me, a whole bunch of them. A lot of them now don't even know who I am, but then most of them aren't British. So, I'm going to let go at that.